Hello everyone, I am Matthew Thomas, the spirit of Super Cool Radio, and if you're looking for a great podcast that features the best independent and up-and-coming bands and artists, then check out my podcast, Super Cool Radio. Each week I deliver fun interviews, and every Friday I spin some killer music. You might not know some of these bands that I feature, but I guarantee you will love them. Check out Super Cool Radio on YouTube, Rumble, Anchor, Spotify, iTunes, or the streaming platform of your choice. Tune in and rock out!
Super Cool Radio!
Hello and welcome to another edition of the Cognitive Discourse. On today's episode, I wanted to cover something that I covered on the other show that I do, which is Basic Ass Dudes. On episode 2, we covered, we highlighted an actor, a specific actor, and we got kind of into a topic there that I wanted to kind of get into on this episode that I kind of, I guess, dissect a little bit more and go into a little bit more of how I feel about it. And it's something that I've seen over the years that seems to be getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I've noticed it more in cinema than I do pretty much anything else. You're starting to see it creep into video games as well. Just any kind of entertainment thing this kind of creeps into. And that's this whole notion of wanting to identify with characters. Me being a huge nerd, being into video games, being into movies, just in entertainment in general. As I've grown up and I've watched movies, and as even as a young kid until now into my adult life, I'm in my early 30s. When I play video games, when I watch movies, when I do all these things that are meant to entertain me, I've never really understood the idea of I need to be able to have a character to identify with. I don't understand that. It's gotten to a point now where it's almost annoying because every movie has to have it. Every video game has to have it. There's so much PC shit going on in the world that it's just, it ruins it for me because there's sections in movies where you can tell that there's virtue signaling going on and it doesn't come off genuine. It feels forced. And I just don't care about stuff like that. It really ruins stuff like that for me. Marvel, which is one of my favorite, the MCU is one of my favorite things right now. I've watched every movie, and I'm really into it. But there's sections of those movies where you're just like, are you serious? I'm all for girl power. I'm all for equal rights and all that shit. But sometimes it just feels force-fed, and it gets annoying. And then, I always hear that argument of I remember when I was a kid, I didn't have, insert whatever it is that they're looking for, whether it be a gay character, a black character, a strong, powerful woman character, whatever it is. That's always their argument. And for me, I guess it's hard for me to understand because I wasn't that type of kid. I watch things to be entertained. Right? So I watch a Spider-Man movie, not because I want to be fucking Spider-Man, not because I want to understand, I want Peter Parker to be like me. That's not why I'm watching Spider-Man. I'm watching Spider-Man because I like Spider-Man. I like the story of Spider-Man. I like the character of Spider-Man. I don't understand this attachment that people feel. To me, it feels, and let me put that out. I'm a narcissistic person. I'm an ego-driven person. I can recognize that as a musician, as an entertainer, as a content creator. I hold it close to me that I believe that in order to do anything like that, there has to be a little bit of narcissism, a little bit of ego that helps drive the want and passion to want to be in that kind of field, whether it be an actor, a musician, a comedian, a wrestler, whatever it is. If you're in that limelight, there's a part of you that is narcissistic. There's a part of you that is egotistical. So I just want to put that out there. Like, I understand that I'm egotistical. I know that I'm narcissistic. I see it in myself all the time. But I'm not to the point of wanting to always see myself in characters. Like, I know how to pull my, and maybe it's because I'm an artist, because I understand how art is created. I know how to pull myself away from that and just enjoy somebody's work of art. You know what I mean? Like, when I play a video game, I'm not looking for, oh, well, this game lacks strong women, or this game lacks color diversity. I don't care about that shit. I don't see that shit. And I guess that's why I get so, it annoys me when people call me a racist because of the way I present certain things, the way that I answer certain things. But it's like, like, take Black Panther, for instance. Like, that's cool that the Black community felt like they finally had a movie. But again, it just shows the ignorance behind comic books in general, not understanding that, like, in the comic book realm, there are plenty of quote unquote black superheroes, black villains. There's a bunch of color diversity in comic books. So that was one of the things that annoyed me, that one of the things that I really noticed, in cinema, when the PC thing started coming out, and to me, I wish people would understand that it's the studio don't give a fuck. The studio is trying to figure out what's the best way to make money. How are we going to sell this movie? How are we going to get people's asses in the seats? They're manipulating you. Like, go watch a movie because the movie's good. Because the writer of the movie had a vision, and he or she is sharing that vision with the world, and you get to go and experience that. And this is why it's hard for me to be a very harsh critic at times, because again, it's not my vision, it's somebody else's. And so a lot of the times I feel like these things are put in there to please, which I'm going to say is a small minority. They feel like the majority, but it's because they have the loudest voices. But these studios are really just giving it to those people. And it gets to a point where, like, a little bit is okay, but when every fucking movie starts doing it, every fucking artist starts doing it, and it starts creeping into every form of entertainment, people start to kind of get annoyed with that shit. Like, again, I was raised by women. I'm all for equality. I'm all for looking at women as equals to a certain extent. On a physicality level in sports, I don't agree with that. Like, we can get into a topic about that, about the whole transgender movement and how these men are transitioning into women, and then they want to do women's sports, and they're fucking dominating. They're dominating the sport. I don't think that's fair. I don't think that's equal rights. Because physically, men are just, we are physically, we're different. And so, again, it boils down to the way that I think and the way that I feel about things is, I'm so tired of the whole cut and dry, like black and white. There has to be, there's room for conversation and dialogue on all these topics, on everything that I bring up on the Cognitive Discord. That's the whole point of this podcast, is to kind of highlight those things. I have my opinions and I have my views on things, but it doesn't mean that I'm 100% right. And I understand that, and I'm willing to have those dialogues with people. So again, like, I'm all for equality, but I don't want that shit force-fed to me constantly in movies and entertainment. It's just, and then, like, I'm tired of everything having to be a race issue when it doesn't have to be. It's funny, like, the Black Panther got all this fucking shit, like all this love, right? All this hype. And I even heard the media talking about how it was like one of the first like all black superhero movies. It's like, bro, did you forget that Blade was fucking successful as shit? And it was, to me, I feel Blade was a better movie than fucking Black Panther was. Granted, Blade was rated R. You know, Luke Cage was a great show. Granted, there was a lot of stuff thrown in there too, but I let that slide. I let a lot of this stuff slide. Just because, again, my love for Marvel is a lot bigger than my annoyance with being PC. But when you start changing characters to appease this minority of group of people, of this minority group of PC folks, these SJWs, that's where it gets annoying. I've never really been a huge fan of Fantastic Four, even though I know Fantastic Four is kind of like the flagship group for what is Marvel. The first two movies weren't that great, and then they did a remake, and they made, I think it was it Johnny Blaze, I think was the one. Yeah, I think they made him black. And from what I know about Fantastic Four, you have a brother-sister connection within the Fantastic Four, but one's white, one's black. It just doesn't make sense. And again, why would you just completely change a character? You know what I mean? And again, confusion. I grew up playing, video games and stuff where, Nick Fury was a white guy. Granted, the change was good. I actually like Samuel L. Jackson as the Nick Fury in the MCU. I think he does a really good job. But it's just minor things like that. You know what I mean? It becomes small things, and then it just over time becomes bigger and bigger to where it's just, it gets annoying. Infinity War and Endgame, both fucking movies had to have a girl power moment. Like, why? Like, if anything, what's funny is in the Marvel realm of things, in the MCU, it's pretty well known that Scarlet Witch is probably one of the most powerful characters in that universe. It's a female. Captain Marvel, they wanted to play her off as one of the most powerful superheroes in the universe. Again, another female. Again, if you were to ask me the top three that I think, it would be Scarlet Witch, Captain Marvel, and Thor. If we're looking at the MCU. So again, I feel like those scenes, they didn't need to be there. I don't understand the mentality of wanting to be so self-absorbed that you go to watch a movie, you go and play a video game, you do anything to be entertained, and you have to put yourself in those worlds. To me, that comes off as self-entitled. That comes off very narcissistic. And this is coming from somebody who's narcissistic and egotistical. I don't believe I'm self-entitled at all. But to go into a movie, to play a video game, and then completely negate what the characters are, what the story's about, and just being like, well, no, they didn't represent me. I want movies that represent me. Like, what? I don't get it. I don't fucking get it. I mean, it's made my movie viewing a little easier when it comes to breaking down movies if I want to watch them or not. Which, again, when I was younger, I used to just pop. I didn't really care about what the movie was about. A lot of times I didn't even like watching the trailer. I just wanted to go into the movie and watch and be entertained. And watch it as it is. But everything has to be fucking labeled now. Everything has to be put in fucking categories. And I'll tell you right now, if I see something that's a LGBTQ category, which I know Netflix does it, I think Hulu and fucking HBO also do it, where they do like spotlights, I completely skip those. It has nothing to do with me whether I like LGBTQ or not. I have no problem with whatever you do behind closed doors is you. I don't care who you love and who gets your jollies off. I don't give a fuck. If it's not children, then we don't have a problem. I'll never accept a pedophile. But if you're into if you like dudes and you're a dude, or you're a woman and you like women, or whatever it is, I don't care. I'm not going to judge you based on that. What is annoying though is that people make that their whole identity. And I'm just pointing out the LGBTQ because of, like I said, it's one of the categories that I see a lot. And when it comes to movies, if I see it in that category, I just go past it, because a lot of times in my mind, it could be a great movie. It could be an awesome movie. But I don't want to deal with the PC bullshit. I don't want to deal with the SJW bullshit, which the majority of those movies are probably heavily weighing on. It's not for me. If it's for you, great. I don't have a problem with it. You want to watch it? More power to you. So I'm not just picking on LGBTQ, and I have to. It sucks that I have to make that known as I'm doing this little rant, because people are going to come after me because they're not fully listening to what it is I'm saying, and they're just going to pick and pull, and they're going to cherry pick. I have that issue with everything, with woman power, like woman in power movies, and I love powerful women, but I like when that character, when it feels genuine and it doesn't feel forced. When you have a strong female character in a movie that's just their character and it doesn't feel like it was force-fed to you. They're kicking ass. That is what it is. And it's harder now to see anymore because, again, this stuff has flooded the market, that it's just, again, like I use Marvel as an example. Infinity War and Endgame, they both had those. There was no need for those scenes. The Endgame one felt more cheesy than the Infinity War one. But they were both in it. And I remember both times when those came on, I saw these in theaters. Both times, my wife heard me vocally groan. I was like, oh, come on. Like Endgame, open battlefield, a bunch of heroes, bunch of villains fighting. Yet somehow, all the females find each other? Come on. It's a little far-fetched. And again, maybe if it was a different climate and that shit wasn't force-fed to us all the time, and that was a one-off type thing, it wouldn't have bothered me. Again, it's not the girls in power that bother me. It's the force-fed of the shit that bothers me, to appease certain groups of people. Again, I like to watch a movie to be entertained. Now, there is a difference because, like I said, I did mention in episode 2 on Bad, if you go and listen to it, that I do like to put myself in scenarios, especially when it comes to horror movies or war movies or whatever it has. But again, that's me as a person. I don't want to put myself in the character shoes. I don't want to be the character. What I do is when I watch a movie, if there's a specific scenario that the character is in, right? Then I like to think, well, what would I do in a situation like that? Like, there's a difference between I need to identify with a character and I need a character to represent me versus watching a movie and seeing it unfold and being like, what would I do in that situation? I do that, especially with like zombie type movies, scary movies, because it helps pull me deeper into the movie and it gives me that feeling of fear, that fight or flight response. So when I'm watching like a zombie movie, and like, what would I do in that scenario if I was in said group with them? Not I need a character that looks like me, sounds like me, and has characteristics like me, so I can identify with what they're doing. No. There's a difference. And again, maybe I just watch movies differently. Maybe I play video games differently than somebody else. And when I play video games, I'm not playing as Joseph. I'm playing as the character. Now, a video game where I have choices to make, again, I don't even sometimes play as myself. I play as like, okay, how do I want this character to be? Do I want him to be an asshole? Do I want him to be kind of, diplomatic? Do I want him to be super aggressive? Do I want him to be more laid back? And then I'd kind of play the character that way. As the story develops and I get to understand how this character is, I disassociate myself with the character. I don't need to identify with every fucking character in every movie, video game, or whatever it is. I don't need to identify with it all the time. If you're one of those people and you're fucking steaming right now and you're fucking pissed off, take a moment, pull back, and just write me. Maybe email me. Let me know why you feel that you need to identify with characters and everything that you do in the form of entertainment. Because I don't get it. I really don't. I don't understand it. And if anything, because I guess my ignorance is bliss, that's why I get annoyed with having to see all this stuff all the time. It's in everything now. So understand that I'm not trying to ruffle feathers. I'm simply stating my opinion and how I feel about things. And like I said, if you haven't watched it, go watch episode 2 of Bad. We cover an actor and we go over a lot of his movies. And there's a movie in there in particular that we discuss that Nolan wasn't a huge fan of. And I was a fan of the film. And when I explained to him why I liked the film, he jokingly says that I basically described a film that sounds completely different from what he watched. So again, it's one of those things where, let me know. I have no hate in my heart for any of those PC things. Like if women, like showing off strong women, having more diverse cast, which I think is a stupid thing to say. I don't give a fuck what color you are. If you can do the job and you can convince me that character is a real character and within that universe, then you've done your job. I don't give a fuck what color you are. I don't care. And again, a lot of the black individuals who are very successful actors that I admire don't feed into that bullshit to begin with. Look at Morgan Freeman. Look at Denzel Washington. 2 of my top favorite actors. They don't feed into that bullshit. But you know what they do is that they go and they fucking give it their all, and that's why they're top actors. Doesn't matter what role they're playing, they can convince you because they become that character. That's what I'm looking for when I'm watching movies. That's what I'm looking for when I'm playing video games. I don't give a fuck about the PC bullshit. Give me a good story. A great story. Give me characters that are convincing. Don't force feed me bullshit. I hope we start seeing a change. Because I would really like it. One of the things that made me want to kind of bring this whole subject on is if you have time, look for the conversation between Quentin Tarantino and Bill Maher. I'm not a huge Bill Maher fan. I don't know much about Quentin Tarantino either, other than the films that he's made that I've watched. But one of the things that I have known about Quentin Tarantino is that he doesn't play into the PC bullshit either. He's going to make what he wants to make. And that's why his films are the way they are. He don't give a fuck about your feelings. He's telling a story. And he made a great argument about how the art is lost. The art is lost, man. And these studios are manipulating the masses, and they're doing exactly what the minority, the ones that are yelling the loudest, they're feeding into that bullshit. And there's a saying, go get woke, go broke. That shit is starting to show a lot more. I'm not into cancel culture, but one thing I am into is I don't cancel people, but I do. What's the best way to say it? My wallet will define what is successful and what isn't successful in my world. And if I ain't buying your bullshit mentally, I ain't buying your bullshit with currency. And it sucks because I've kind of pulled away from a lot of the Marvel stuff. You know, I'm a fan of it, but it's really hard when, you know, PC and SJW shit is constantly, you know, force fed. And I'm going in circles now, but you know, so yeah, I'm just curious to see why somebody would want to have that they feel that they need something like that to look up to. Why is it that people have to make that stuff their entire character? Like, why can't you just be comfortable with who you are, understand who you are, and like I know who I am. And if somebody calls me racist or somebody calls me a bigot, somebody calls me a fascist, I tend to just laugh it off because I know I'm not that. If anything, those words get thrown around so much that they're starting to lose power. But I'm comfortable with who I am. I know who I am. This is why I can have these conversations. This is why I can say my piece and my opinion and still be open to somebody coming and sitting down with me and having a discussion. There's a difference between a discussion and then also wanting to get loud and get into the name calling and stuff like that. Because let it be known now, if we were to sit in a public place and you start talking out your ass and acting like you're a tough guy, I have no problem slapping the fuck out you. I don't aim to be disrespectful towards anybody. And again, like I said, the one thing I loved about this podcast is it's allowing me to not have hate in my heart and to try to pull back and pull back on being so aggressive and learning to understand that, like, everybody has the opinions and not to be judgmental and try to find common ground. That's ultimately what I want to be at. I want to find common ground with people. I want to understand on stuff that I don't understand. Because again, this is coming from somebody who I'm confident in who I am. I know who I am. I know what I like. I know what I don't like. And I don't need to have a movie, a TV show, a video game. I don't need to have any of that. I don't need characters from a made-up world to make up my whole identity. I don't need to sit there and yeah, I don't know. Let me put it this way. There's a rapper that I know, and I don't know if I brought it up on this podcast yet or not. I know I've talked about it before, but I don't remember if I brought it up on here. But there's a guy that I know who has recently blocked me on the personal side of things. But I met him when I was doing my Uber stuff back in the day, and he was a rapper. And now he's fairly successful. He's signed to an indie label, and you know, he's doing things, and I'm proud for him. Like he's getting out there. Now, when I first met him, he was a rapper that he kind of talked more about like his battle with drug abuse and addiction and all that type of stuff. And that was cool. That was cool. You know, if he's writing meaningful songs, and they were good. Like he has a way with words, and he's really good at using metaphors and stuff like that. So, you know, more power to him. But somewhere along the lines, he flipped. So he's a gay dude. Again, I had no problem with that. Whatever. And some of you guys may not understand what I'm about to say, the correlation here, but I'm hoping some of y'all do understand. And if you understand what I'm saying, hopefully it will help you understand where I'm coming from and why I view things the way I view them. But he got upset because I basically told him, like, you know, we were starting getting into a debate, and there was a shift where he went from being a rapper who was gay to being a gay rapper. Now, I don't know if some of y'all may be like, what? So, for me, right, I liked him when he was a rapper who happened to be gay, okay? Because his identity wasn't, I'm gay. His identity was, I'm an artist. I'm a rapper. I make music. Check out my music. And then his music goes into deeper topics, right? Versus, I'm a gay rapper. His whole identity is I'm gay. Look how gay I am. Look how flamboyant I can be. And it became a gimmick. Now, he still has some decent raps, but as time has progressed, I've noticed that they become more hollowed out. His songs are more, they're a hollow shell of what they used to be. And I think it's because he's taken on that persona of, I'm gay. So at one point, the primary was, I'm a rapper. And the secondary was, I'm gay. And it flipped, and the primary became, I'm gay. And then the secondary became, I'm a rapper. I hope I made that. I hope you understand what I'm saying. Again, no problem with him being gay. But when he made his whole identity that, it's almost like going to a bar with your friends, and you have that one friend that their personality doesn't truly show until they get drunk, and then they're really fun to be around. It's like they almost need alcohol to function, to be likable. That's how I kind of feel about that. It's like, why does your whole identity have to be around the fact that you're gay? I mean, I'm not trying to fuck you. You're not trying to fuck me. So why is that the thing that you have to make your entire identity? I mean, how annoying is it when guys are like that, straight guys are like that, when they make their whole identity about pussy? I mean, think about that. I don't like hanging around those dudes either. When they make their whole identity about fucking girls and how much ass they get. Shit's annoying. I don't think that shit's cool either. So for me, it's like one of those things where it's like, dude, I liked you when you were just a rapper. A rapper who happened to be gay. Because the who happened to be gay part, that shit doesn't matter to me. I don't care what you do in your personal life. I cared about you as a rapper and the material you were putting out. Coming from a fan perspective, right? Coming from another musician. I'm straight and I'm an artist, but you don't see me fucking throwing that out there all the time. Because what I do in my sexual life and my sexual preferences is mine and mine alone. I don't feel like I need to throw that out there and let the world know. The whole pride thing is just a cover up for insecurity. Because if you're comfortable and you're confident in who you are as an individual, you wouldn't need to fucking put that shit out there constantly. That's just my opinion on that. That's how I feel. And you may disagree with me, and that's fine. I'm not going to hate you for it, even though chances are you hate me. But understand that if we sit down and talk and we become friends, I don't give a fuck what your sexual orientation is. I don't care what you classify your gender as. I don't care what race you are. None of that shit matters to me. What does matter to me is, are you somebody who carries themselves well? Are you respectful? Do you have integrity? Are you trustworthy? Are you an honest and genuine person? Those things matter to me. And I wish those things mattered to everyone. I don't care how much money you have. I don't care how many people you've slept with. I don't care about any of that stuff. Just be a good person. Have strong moral fiber. Be respectful, and we'll be good, man. The people that scream tolerance are some of the most intolerant people I've ever met. And that's just from personal experience, without getting too political. I'm tired of the gatekeeping. I'm tired of people trying to dictate what you and I should be doing, how you and I should be thinking. I'm done. I'm going to keep doing me. And if you're a respectful person, an honest person, a trustworthy person, a genuine person, then me and you won't have any issues. But I do appreciate you constantly coming in, listening to my rants. And again, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, by all means, leave a comment, write me an email. I welcome it. But I want you to understand that when you write to me, don't come at me with hate. It's not going to help your quote unquote argument or your way of thinking. I want to find common ground. But with that said, if you want to email me, you can email me at cognitivediscoursepodcast@gmail.com. That's cognitivediscoursepodcast@gmail.com. Don't forget to check out our YouTube page. I am still trying to catch up on that. Just the editing is just, I've kind of fallen into the deep hole of not being able, I haven't uploaded in about 3 weeks on YouTube. So I need to get back on that. So if you're listening to this on YouTube, sorry that these kind of took a while to come out, because every episode does come out every Friday. If you want to stay on top of every Friday, the new Friday episode, look out for me on Buzzsprout. Look out for me on Spotify, all your major streaming services. Again, links will be down in the description for those if you want to just listen to the audio. Also, like I said, check out Basic Ass Dudes, man. It's a show that I do with my buddy Nolan. We don't get political on that show. It's just pop culture, nerd culture type stuff. We talk about movies, video games, music, and we just have a lot of fun with it. And so it's a little more lighthearted than this podcast is. But if that's something that you're into, check it out. Also check out my buddy Nolan's podcast. He has a solo podcast called Every Podcast I Love Is Dead, where he talks to bands and he interviews bands, and he's been getting some really cool bands lately. And if you're in a band and you want your music featured, we do that on Basic Ass Dudes. At the end of the show, we feature one band. If you'd like to do that, you can send an email to basicassdudes@gmail.com. And in that email, all we ask is that you leave a track that you give us permission to use, a bio, all your social media links, and tour dates, anything else that you can think of, and then we'll feature it on an episode. We do our episodes bi-weekly there, and then me and Nolan also switch off on our hosting duties. So depending on who's hosting will kind of depend on when your band gets played. But if it does get played, when we feature you, we will send you an email and let you know, hey, your episode's going to be releasing on this date. That way you can promote and everything like that. And I typically do trailers for it that we release on Saturday before the episode drops. Those episodes drop on Monday, so I'll do a trailer that Saturday, so it has the weekend to kind of circulate. So that's how you'll know, because I'll send you the trailer and say, hey man, here's the trailer for the show that you're going to be in, and then the show will drop on Monday. So yeah, check that out. Me and the wife have been having a lot of fun with doing our perler stuff. Our perler bead art is kind of we're starting to have a pretty cool inventory, so I'm hoping to hit the flea market here soon to start selling that stuff. By the way, if you're somebody who knows how to do like online stores, like a legit website online store, or how to go about selling online with this stuff, let me know, because the Cognitive Discourse merch I just run through Teespring, so it's a print-on-demand place. So when you actually order a shirt or a mug or anything Cognitive Discourse related, I have a company that's a third party that makes it for me, and they send it out to you. So I don't have any of the inventory for that stuff. But this stuff we're making from hand, like by hand, from scratch. And so like I'd like to be able to sell this online outside of the flea markets. I'm old school, so like I'm all about the flea market, but if I can find a way to do it online, anybody that can kind of give me a heads up on how to get that started. I'm still doing my research on that, but if if you have some pointers, if you sell online and you can help me out, by all means, send me an email and let's link up, man. Like I said, I'm always looking for the ability to create a community, to create not only a community of fans and bands, but entrepreneurs, man. I'm all about people doing stuff. And so if you're a fan and you're listening and you're an entrepreneur, and you want to be a guest on the show, we can talk about what it is you're doing. And, I'm all for that as well. I plan on eventually having more guests on here. Like I said, we're looking at hopefully moving next year, about middle part of next year. So hopefully that goes through. If it does, I'm hoping to have a bigger space. I need to upgrade my cameras. I did find my charger for my GoPro, which is kind of cool. So I might fuck around with that on one of my other smaller YouTube pages, just to fuck with the camera work and the editing on there. But yeah, man. Check out Basic Ass Dude. Check out every podcast I love is dead. Continue listening to Cognitive Discourse. I really do appreciate you guys. If you want to support the show, please go to the link down in the description for the merch. Buy a shirt, buy a mug, support your boy, and I would really appreciate it. All that money will go back into the show. As far as like upgrading, there's some upgrading things that I wanna do. Like I said, I want to eventually get some better cameras and stuff like that, so I can start filming. So the YouTube channel has more than just my logo. But again, I do appreciate every single one of y'all. If you're an entrepreneur, no matter what it is you're doing, you want to get on the show, by all means, reach out to me. I love people who create nothing into something, and it's inspiring, man. It not only seeing friends and family and fans doing shit, not only is that really cool, but it warms my heart, and it makes me continue pushing to do what I'm doing. Like, I have a lot of plate spinning outside of this podcast that I'm doing, and there's a lot of entrepreneur paths and avenues that I'm taking. And so to meet other entrepreneurs and see what they're doing and see the path that they're taking and just bounce ideas off of each other, I love that shit, man. We all have a chance to be successful. At the end of the day, it just boils down to how much are you willing to push? How much passion do you really have? And when the chips are down, how hard are you willing to work to be the phoenix that rises from the ashes? Anyway, thank you for listening. Again, if I ruffled some of your feathers, that wasn't the intent of the show. And for those that agree with me, cool. Like I said, this is just something that's kind of been on my mind for the past couple of months as I've been seeing when I watch movies and play newer video games and stuff like that. But thank you for listening. Thank you for continuously listening. If it was your first time hearing an episode, welcome to the show. I hope you go to my backlog and listen to some of my other episodes. And again, I appreciate all the support from all of you guys, and all the people that are shifting over to watching the bad stuff. I want to give you a huge thank you and a huge shout out. Thank you for supporting everything that I'm doing, and we'll continue rocking. I got more content on the way, so yeah, man. As always, enjoy your Friday. Have a safe weekend, and until next time.